All right, the year is new and you want to lose some weight, but how are you going to do it? Well, you can start by eating healthy and exercising. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to lose weight because even if you are eating grade A grass fed meat with vegetables from the Garden of Eden, you still need to make sure that you aren't creating a caloric surplus for yourself. So, what do? Well, let's begin by identifying some crucial numbers. Now, first, you need to be aware that there's a certain number of calories that our bodies will burn at rest each day, otherwise known as your basal metabolic rate. Now, your BMR is the amount of energy that your body needs to function. This is going to include things like digesting food. Now, we all have our own BMR and it does fluctuate, and you need to get an idea of what yours is. Thankfully, there are sources you can go to get an idea of what your BMR is, and I also have a link down below for you if you want to check that out. I strongly suggest it. Now, it is important to know this because to be in a caloric deficit, you must consume less than the amount of calories that you burn. Thus, you must know how many calories you're burning, aka your BMR. So go check out that link. Now, your BMR isn't all the calories that you burn each day. You also must add whatever calories you burn when exercising. To track this, you can monitor it with some sort of wearable smart technology, or, you can ballpark it with breakdowns of calories burned for common exercises, and you can find this online. I'll also have a link for you down below if you want to check this out as well. Now, for most people, the total of these two numbers is going to be around 1,500 to 3,000 calories per day, depending on their gender and also activity levels. Now, let's say for you, with what you burn at rest and with your workout, your body uses 2,500 calories per day. Let's just say that. But let's say you eat 3,500 calories per day. Now, this 1,000 calorie surplus, the 2,500 to 3,500, will be what makes you gain weight. But we don't want that, right? We want a caloric deficit, which means we need to go under that original 2,500 calories that you're burning each day. Now, how do you do that? How do you get into this deficit? Well, you can just not eat, that can give you a huge caloric deficit. But, after a week or so, you're going to be struggling to just open up your eyes. So even though that can get you into a caloric deficit, it's for sure not advisable to do so because it is not the best sustainable long-term option. There's a bit of finesse that comes with trying to get yourself into a caloric deficit. You can't just completely bottom out and completely take away all your food forever, all right? Because if you go too far below for too long, then you really have no energy. And if you go too high, well, you might just stay the same weight or worse, gain weight. So what's the magic number? Well, that's actually the fun in it, all right? You get to find out what your number is through trial and error, aka living, baby. But, to get started, for most people, you should aim to be about 500 calories below whatever amount of calories you burn each day. For most people, the 500 calories seems to be that number. Now, sticking with our 2,500 calories from before, let's say that 2,300 of that is what you burn at rest, and that the additional 200 is from that killer spin class you did today. Now, subtract about 500 or more calories from the 2,500 total, and you get the 2,000 calories that you must aim to consume, which is below your daily calories burned. That's your caloric deficit. Now, doing this calculation also brings to light the 1,500 total calories that you need to get rid of to get into that caloric deficit, right? If we're using that example from above. Now, this is why you need to find out all these different measurements to find the amount of calories that you must cut to get into this deficit. Without it, you're really just kind of guessing. But these are just the numbers. How do you actually get into this deficit? Well, you can start by cutting your biggest contributor to how many calories that enter your body. And what's that? That's eating. Start by replacing sugary food, processed food, and fast food with nutritionally dense food like protein, vegetables, and fruit. Now, the aforementioned is typically going to have more calories than healthy food, and to boot, those calories aren't the calories that you actually want. And switching these foods out will help you stay under your daily calories burned. For example, if you go grab yourself a Big Mac, fries, and a Coke, this is going to run you over 1,300 calories with 86 grams of sugar and only 32 grams of protein. Now, in comparison, if you go cook yourself a 10-ounce ribeye steak with some broccoli and a glass of water, you're going to get about 900 calories with absolutely no sugar and 75 grams of protein. Now, this added protein from the ribeye steak, this is going to actually help you gain more muscle, which helps you burn even more calories. And you're also going to avoid the lowering of your basal metabolic rate by getting rid of that 86 grams of sugar, because sugar has been shown to actually slow your BMR, which just causes an additional struggle when you're trying to get into this caloric deficit. And you're going to avoid all of that by switching to healthier food. So, healthier food's definitely going to help you out, but also eating less can also help you out as well. However, look, reducing consumption can cause some problems, especially if you reduce it too much and you're not getting enough nutrition into your system. So please proceed with caution if you're going to do this. But also, if you've been overeating for a while, you almost can't avoid this. This is probably going to be a necessary option for you. Just don't do anything drastic like cutting it down quickly and then trying to sustain that. Just ease yourself down. That's just what I suggest. But let's say that after you switched up your food and you reduce your consumption, you're just stuck at 2,300 calories. You can't go any farther down. And you're 300 calories short of being in this sweet spot of you actually being in this caloric deficit. Well, what could you do? Well, next, you can actually focus on the other side of things, right? So ask yourself, well, how many more calories can I burn? And how can I burn some more calories? Now, a great way to burn more calories, guess what that is? That's to work out. And working out includes weightlifting and doing some sort of cardio. Now, in our example earlier, you did a spin class that burned 200 calories. That's great. But maybe now you need to add in some weightlifting and some running or something else to get that additional 300 calories. Thankfully, working out is great for us, right? It's great for us for many different reasons. But in this circumstance, it can definitely help you burn 500 calories or more per day. And this should help you get into that sweet spot and get into this caloric deficit. So use working out, use exercising to help you get into a caloric deficit. It is basically required. Now, in closing, remember, to get into this deficit, you need to first find out how many calories you're going to be burning each day. Next, identify a number that is about 500 calories below that. Then construct a meal program that provides you nutrition, but not a large surplus of calories. Now, also add in working out or ramp up your current workouts to bring up the amount of calories that you burn to get into that sweet spot. But again, that is how you're going to get into a caloric deficit. Please use the links down below if you want to really get into this. And I wish all of you luck. Thank you for watching this video and have a good one.